Coming up next on Win News, the Liberal Lions candidate under severe pressure. All the fun of AgFest, and Targa roars into the West Coast.
Across Tasmania, this is Win News.
Tonight, political chaos at AgFest as a Tasmanian candidate becomes embroiled in a scandal. Sue Hickey blocks a key Liberal promise, raising questions over the government's way forward, and workers back at the Royal following an asbestos scare. Good evening, I'm Bruce Roberts. Also tonight, Clive Palmer flies into Tassie and faces questions over colourful candidates. Plus, fire destroys 40 cars at Ferntree. Social media posts at the centre of a scandal involving a Tasmanian Liberal candidate are being referred to the federal police. Labor says the posts in the name of Lions candidate Jessica Whelan are racist and violent, but the Prime Minister has suggested they've been doctored. The scandal overshadowed a day on the campaign trail that saw both leaders in Tasmania.
It wasn't quite the mud-throwing AgFest is notorious for. Scott Morrison hoping a multi-million-dollar plan for agriculture, fisheries and forestry would draw attention. Holly Corbett, Win News.
Amid a major spending campaign, Clive Palmer has landed in Hobart with his pitch to make Tasmania great again. He says the United Australia Party would establish a special economic zone that would see Tasmanians and corporations pay 20% less tax.
It's a credit, if you like, right? So the amount due is 80%. After you receive the rebate. So the legislation would give it a rebate, and that makes it constitutionally acceptable. Closer to home, the actions of rogue Liberal Speaker Sue Hickey are putting the Hodgman government in an increasingly difficult position. The Rebel Clark MP crossing the floor again last night, this time to kill off a key Liberal election promise, mandatory sentences for child sex offenders.
The Liberal Party left in the lurch, Speaker Sue Hickey crossing the floor to vote against the government.
But it is braver and truer to my own conscience to not support this bill in its current form.
Blocking the Liberals' election promise of mandatory sentences for child sex offenders. Meg Sides, Win News.
Workers have begun returning to the job with the site of the Royal Hobart Hospital redevelopment now declared safe. But the union has slammed the government for what it says is putting a deadline before workers, saying it won't be surprised if the situation arises again.
The government today confirming the site of the Royal Hobart Hospital redevelopment is safe as workers begin returning to the job. But it comes with a dose of scepticism. The government says the contaminated soil is being removed and disposed of under appropriate conditions, and that there's no evidence to suggest other areas of the site have also been contaminated. The union says it won't be surprised if there are future detections on site. Judy Augustine, Win News.
Fire has destroyed 41 cars at a property in Ferntree in the state's south. Emergency services were called to the scene around 7:30 after neighbours called 000. 9 crews attended the blaze, which took 2 hours to get under control. The Tasmania Fire Service says the incident highlights the need to constantly monitor fires, and that even though we're moving into the cooler months, fires can still quickly spread. In traditional AgFest fashion, grey clouds loomed over Quercus Park during the opening day of the agricultural event, but the weather failed to stop thousands enjoying all the attractions in AgFest's 37th year.
Gumboots, raincoats and umbrellas were all on show, the rain failing to dampen the spirits of those at AgFest.
After the break this Thursday, the state's young doctors view health through a rural lens and which vineyard has been crowned Tasmania's best. Doctors have travelled to the state's north and northwest to learn about regional and rural health issues. The first-year Uni of Tasmania students putting their medical knowledge and skills into practice in simulated emergencies.
It's hands-on practice but with limited resources, all part of the university's annual Rural Week.
A Tasmanian vineyard owner is enjoying the fruits of her labour, picking up a coveted award. Samantha Connew says claiming the title of Vineyard of the Year is recognition for the work she's doing to ensure her grapes are the best they can be.
Tasmania's growing reputation for world-class wines prompted internationally renowned winemaker Samantha Connew to move here 3 years ago.
The varieties that I'm passionate about, Riesling, Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, Tasmania is really the only place in Australia that can do all three.
And it's time for sport with Amy Duggan, and aims the State Netball League will honour a special cause this weekend.
It sure will, Bruce, as Kingston looks for its first win of the season. More on that special cause next. Also coming up, a Tasmanian set to enter the boxing ring for a final time. In sport, North Hobart's adamant that star player Colin Garland is playing at a lower level simply to get his body right and not due to a dispute with the club. For a second straight week, the former Melbourne Demon lined up for Dosa in the Old Scholars.
Over the pre-season, Richard Robinson had Colin Garland, Marty Allison and Sean Willis at his disposal. But for a variety of different reasons, now he doesn't.
Matt Freshney has confirmed his fight on next week's show at Hobart's Elwick Racecourse will be his last. The Tasmanian boxer says the time's right to hang up the gloves, but he wants to go out with a bang.
After 7 professional fights, Freshney is content with his decision to call it a day.
Another day, and Targa Tasmania has another new leader following a wet and wild trip from Launceston to Strawn. In his Lexus, Paul Stokel is now in first place, the 5th driver to lead the fleet in 4 days.
Overnight leader Matt Close came to a grinding halt on today's opening stage, electronic transmission problems forcing him into an unwanted break.
And that is our sport, Bruce.
Lovely stuff. Thank you very much for that, Amy. Hayley Francis joins us now with some weather details. Hello, Hayley. A chance of a few showers in the coming days.
Good evening, Bruce and Amy. That's right. Areas to the north and west should cop the heaviest showers. I'll have all the details for across the state after the break.
This report brought to you by Anaconda. Play more, pay less.
Welcome back. Overcast skies cover the state today, bringing scattered showers for parts. The heaviest are about the north and northwest, with only light showers elsewhere. Tonight's weather picture is thanks to Amanda. She took this in the early morning from St Helens. In the 24 hours to 9 a.m, Smithton got 54 millimetres, 52 at Edith Creek. Further down the list, 38 at Strawn and 23 millimetres at Burnie. Around the state today, unseasonably warm conditions. Devonport's low being 6 degrees above the monthly average, 15 degrees. Swansea topped out at 21, Oatlands 18, and Hobart reached that high of 18 degrees. On the charts, a complex area of low pressure to the west of Tasmania is directing a northeasterly stream over the state. This feature will tend northwesterly early tomorrow. The low will weaken later in the day as it approaches with an associated cold front set to then cross the state on Saturday morning. Onto the waters. In the north, north to northwesterly winds up to 25 knots. In the east, seas up to 2 metres on a northeasterly swell. For the south coast, seas up to 2.5 metres. And in the west, north to northwesterly winds. A strong wind warning is in place for the far northwest, southwest and central west coast. Also a small craft alert for the southwest lakes. Now tomorrow, more showers across the state. Some early morning showers for the north and east. A possible storm for the east and west. Showers should build later in the day for the west, far south and central areas. Now interstate tomorrow, a partly cloudy day in Brisbane and a possible storm for Melbourne. Looking ahead closer to home for Burnie, we can expect early showers on Saturday morning, minimum slipping to the single digits. For Launceston, very cool on Sunday morning, 4 degrees before tops of 18 degrees into next week as well. And in Hobart, some light showers over the weekend, cloudy next week. So certainly some cooler nights to come. Bruce?
It's time to find that extra blanket, isn't it? Thank you very much for that, Hayley. Thanks for your company. We're looking forward to seeing you tomorrow night from 6 o'clock. Good night.